On this week's episode of Ride the Lightning, the Tesla and EV podcast, the new Model Y Performance, an updated Model S, and an updated Model X were all spotted out in the wild separately, suggesting that the debuts of those vehicles are imminent. Plus, owners of the refreshed Model 3 and Model Y can now get a subtle but premium upgrade to their dashboards, new details on the upcoming robotaxi rollout in Austin, and more. What's happening, friends? I'm Ryan McCaffrey, joining you alongside Daisy the Boxer. The two Labradors are out somewhere in the house playing. Welcome to episode 512 of Ride the Lightning. It is your weekly Tesla and EV podcast. It'll be very Tesla-centric this week. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. It's episode 512 for May 25th, 2025. And I'll start right here with something that I saw last weekend. So I was supercharging. And when I saw this, I thought, well, this might be nothing, but my gut told me that it was something. And as the week unfolded, it turns out I was right. So, as I said, I was supercharging last weekend, and there was a Model X a couple stalls over from me that at one point, when I looked and just glanced over, I noticed that it had unique wheels on it. It had very nice arrow-looking, star pattern, gray and black, glossy-looking wheels. And I had two thoughts when I saw these wheels on this Model X. One was, well, I've never seen those before. And then my second thought was, those look way too nice to be aftermarket. And then before I could get out of the car and go slyly take a look at them, the Model X pulled away, and I just took a look to see, is this Model X that's pulling away right now going to have manufacturer plates, meaning is this a Tesla vehicle? And sure enough, it absolutely did, which means, again, it was a Tesla-owned vehicle. So what I'm getting at here is that I think that I might have just seen the new wheels for the Model X. And again, as the week rolled on, I would be proven correct, which I'll tell you more about in a second. So as of now, as of this recording, Friday evening, it's 7:37 p.m. Pacific as I'm in this very moment. There's nothing on the Tesla design studio yet. It's still the same Model S and Model X that have been up there for quite some time now. But if perhaps even by the time you hear this, or if not, sometime in the not too distant future, these wheels show up on the Model X in the Tesla design studio soon, remember this episode, because this is when they first appeared in the wild here in basically mid-May. And that just took me right back to Chief Engineer Lars Moravy's appearance on this podcast on episode 499, where he talked about, hey, give us a minute, when I asked him about a potential Model S and Model X refresh. And so, we get to the later in the week portion. My friends at The Kilowatts, which is an account on X run by an ex-Tesla employee friend of mine, he also spotted a different Model X wearing these same wheels later in the week, although they were without their arrow cover pieces on them, but it was clearly the same wheel. And he posted pictures on his X account, which, if you want to look it up, is at KLWTTS, basically kilowatts without the vowels. Now, unfortunately, he didn't get like a super duper up close look, but a pretty good one nevertheless. He certainly beat me in the sense that he got a picture. I couldn't even manage that before the Model X pulled away from me, but this is definitely confirmed now. These are wheels from a Model X refresh. And just further corroborating that and one-upping me, which I'm happy for him to do by quite a bit, besides, and this is a one-up besides just the fact that he got photographic proof and I didn't, is he got a picture of another new Model X spotted wearing these same new wheels that also happen to be painted in a new color. It is what I would describe as grayish pastel blue that in photographs looks at first glance similar to glacier blue, but the Kilowatts who's seen this in real life versus just the picture I've seen insists it is not glacier blue. He called it, quote, more luxurious and maybe a little more pastel. Now, to my eyes in the picture, it looked a little maybe sky blue to me. I don't know. I might just call it that in the interim until I find out what Franz and the design team are actually calling this. But I'll say this. I didn't love it in those pictures on the Model X, but I could see this new color being pretty awesome on the new Model S. So it looks like it's going to go this way then. Tesla is going to have a couple of unique paint colors between 3 and Y and S and X. So, for instance, Glacier Blue, which I'm still convinced it's still coming. Glacier Blue on the 3 and the Y, and this blue on S and X. Similar to how 3 and Y get Quicksilver and S and X get Lunar Silver. It definitely makes sense, though, that both of these blues, Glacier Blue and this new blue that I'm just casually referring to as Sky Blue here in the interim, that they would both replace Deep Blue Metallic very, very soon, because as I've been pointing out since before Glacier Blue was first revealed back in January, the existing blue, that Deep Blue Metallic, is a full decade old at this point. I don't have anything against it, but it's just time for it to go. It's been 10 years. So I'll say this. I think that both new blues, Glacier Blue and Sky Blue, I think they'll probably both happen at the same time, which would mean probably quite soon if there's already a Model X out in the wild on the new quote-unquote Sky Blue. So if and when that happens, that means Deep Blue Metallic will be removed from the Fremont factory paint shop, and in its place will be Glacier Blue when they're painting 3s and Ys, and this other, again, quote-unquote Sky Blue when they're doing S and X paint shop runs. Now, on this very subject, if you're curious, well, wait a second, new Model X, does that mean, are we getting a substantial refresh here? And the answer is, we don't know yet, but there are at least a couple of quite subtle, but nevertheless very noticeable things that should be welcome to anybody looking to purchase an S or an X. A new Model X that the Kilowatts spotted also has a front bumper camera, just like the new Model Y, just like the Cybertruck. And the Kilowatts also took photos in the front and rear windows of this Model X that showed protective tape over the dashboard as well as the door trims, and that tape was stuck to you could see a thin strip kind of bulging a little bit underneath it that can only be an RGB accent lighting strip, similar to the one that now all of the other Teslas have, the 3, the Y, and the Cybertruck. And if you're curious, well, where was this car? So this Model X was spotted in broad daylight at the Tesla Fremont factory in the public parking area out front right next to the superchargers that anybody can pull up and use. Which means that Tesla wasn't exactly hiding this, which also means, again, an updated S and X pretty much have to be imminent at this point. And by imminent, I mean possibly it's already been announced by the time you actually hear this, that kind of imminent. Tesla tends to do design studio updates on Thursday nights, just something that myself and other eagle-eyed Tesla folks in the community have noticed over the years. And these pictures were posted by the Kilowatts on Thursday of this past week. So he and I exchanged a couple of posts that we both thought, well, maybe it's just going to get announced tonight. That did not happen. So it could be this coming Thursday evening, which would be, May 29th? It could be anytime. I mean, there are no rules with this stuff with Tesla, just previous patterns that may or may not predict a future action/outcome. So the rest of the car, like, all right, so we've got the RGB accent lighting on the interior, finally for S and X. We've got a front bumper camera on this new X. Well, what about anything else? How about looks-wise, other than the wheels? The body looks the same on this, at least on the X. I'll hold on for a minute. We're going to talk about the Model S as well. But we shall see if under the skin, this Model X and thus also Model S refresh is hiding steer-by-wire and or other tech upgrades, maybe perhaps 4680 battery cells that can supercharge at 500 kilowatts, which the Cybertruck is going to max out at. We shall see. But if, as it sure seems like, if the Model X that was spotted is the final version of the new quote-unquote refreshed Model X, it'll be a little bit unfortunate that there's not more to it design-wise than just new wheels and a new paint color. But we'll see what Tesla does. I don't want to jump to conclusions quite yet. And also, I happened to notice that when I was poking around, just checking stuff on the Tesla site, that you currently can't get free lifetime supercharging anymore on a custom order S or X. There are S's and X's, new ones, in inventory that you can buy that still have it. But what I actually wanted to point out was that the price didn't go back down by $5,000. Because remember, when Tesla made the move to add free lifetime supercharging back to S and X, it was accompanied by a $5,000 price increase, effectively putting a reasonably high price tag on that free lifetime supercharging. And so the prices did not change as the free supercharging came off of those cars. So I don't know if Tesla's using that as cover for tariff-related cost increases or what. Maybe it'll make sense if the refresh does have steer-by-wire and other tech upgrades under the hood, but otherwise, I would have to say it would be a bit unfortunate if Tesla removes the free supercharging but keeps the price at the same $5,000 higher level. Before I get to the Model S, though, I wanted to talk about the Model Y Performance, which we've been waiting for the debut of since the Juniper launched. Carscoops.com posted pictures of a fully zebra camouflage wrapped Model Y, which almost certainly is the new Model Y Performance, out testing on the Nurburgring track in Germany. And as you'd expect from the performance version, it was wearing larger, unique wheels. Although those wheels maybe not quite as unique as you'd have initially thought, because the wheels it had on were what looked like matte finish, dark gray, maybe even black wheels that looked a whole lot like the Arachnid wheels that you can get on the Model S, which, for the record, I think are the nicest wheels that Tesla currently offers. Yes, I think they're even nicer than the wheels on my own car after I removed the aero inserts to make them look, in my opinion, better. But no, the Arachnids are gorgeous, and the wheels that this Model Y Performance was rocking on the ring were very Arachnid-ish. They definitely weren't the same. They were not Arachnids that Tesla had thrown on this car, but they had a very similar look to them. The car also had larger red brake calipers, which you expect from the performance version of a Tesla, as well as you could even see still pretty clearly, even with the zebra camouflage wrap, it had a carbon fiber lip spoiler on the back. Now, one of the pictures that carscoops.com posted was a head-on front shot. And though the zebra wrap is meant to camouflage it, to my eyes, it didn't look like Tesla had made any design tweaks to the front of the new Model Y Performance as they did with my car, the new Model 3 Performance, relative to the non-performance 3s. And even in the back of the new Model Y Performance, the rear diffuser appears to be the same one as the non-performance Model Y. So from here, I guess all I can do is really guess. So for performance, 0 to 60 time of 3.3 seconds sounds about right. And the reason I say that is quite simply the Model 3 Performance gained 0.2 seconds from Gen 1 to Gen 2, from 3.1 seconds to 2.9 seconds on the new one. So it's reasonable to assume the same thing will take place on the new Model Y Performance. Range-wise, here's my guess for the Model Y Performance range. I'm going to go 295 miles, or about 10 miles less than the definitely lighter Model 3 Performance. So give or take about 10 miles less there. The obvious caveat here is that if Tesla was just out doing performance testing on the track with a pre-production unit, because these are not available to buy yet, then what CarScoops spotted might not 100% represent the final version of the Model Y Performance that you'll be able to buy. Odds are, though, that this is it, meaning fewer exterior design changes compared to the Juniper than the Model 3 Performance compared to its non-performance Highland counterparts. Obviously, under the hood, it's still going to get the same upgraded drive unit that the Model 3 Performance has and the same adaptive suspension, along with, I'm sure, the same kind of buckety performance sport seats and the carbon fiber dashboard trim piece as well. Timing-wise, I'm sticking to my Q3 prediction for this one. We'll see. I mean, they're out testing it. They're not really trying to hide it. Yeah, they had a zebra camo wrap on it, but they're not really trying to hide this car, and it's May. So I think Q3 is when it's going to happen. We shall see. Perhaps Glacier Blue, the aforementioned Glacier Blue, will get introduced to the US at the same time that the Model Y Performance does. That would kind of make sense. They got to do some factory changeover anyway at that point, so why not do the paint color as well? Well, I thought I would make this new Model Y Performance the subject of this week's Patreon poll. So the question was, what are you most excited about in the new Model Y Performance? And again, the poll is open to everybody every week, open to the public. You don't have to be backing me, supporting me on Patreon, none of that. Just swing on by every week, cast your vote. The poll usually goes up on Tuesday evenings. That's when I aim to get it posted every week. So the winning vote here, I tried to put as many choices as I could. I tried to think of all the things on the Model Y Performance. So it was a pretty close race between two things. 35% of voters said more performance, which certainly makes sense. That's probably going to be the number one reason you would buy a Model Y Performance versus the Model Y all-wheel drive. But coming in right behind it at 33% was adaptive suspension. Then at 18% was unique exterior design touches, like the spoiler, and from there it just fell to single digits. The other choices, there was sport seats, unique wheels, performance badging, or something else. So thank you to everybody that kindly took the time to vote in this week's Patreon poll. And again, swing on by my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Tesla Podcast, every week and vote in each week's new poll. All right, speaking of testing cars on the Nürburgring, Tesla was also testing a camouflaged Model S at the ring this past week as well. I saw this on Drive Tesla Canada, who wrote, Tesla appears to be gearing up for a long-awaited refresh of its flagship sedan, as a camouflaged Model S prototype has been spotted undergoing high-speed testing at the Nürburgring Nordschleife in Germany. According to photos of the test vehicle captured by Inside EVs, The prototype hints at a number of design changes, most notably at the front and rear, both of which were covered in camouflage. So I'll just stop to point out, with this car, only the front and rear ends had the zebra camo wrap. The rest of the car did not. So continuing here from Drive Tesla Canada, the covered front and rear bumpers have visible additions like a more aggressive front splitter and rear diffuser setup. There is also the long-awaited front bumper camera. Thank you to Drive Tesla Canada there. I have to admit that I had to stare at photos of this car and the current Model S side by side on my monitor, and really the only obvious difference I could see was in that new splitter. It is definitely a more prominent new splitter at the bottom of the front end of that car. And the rear diffuser is definitely different in this case as well. I'll add here the wheels, like with the Model X that I was talking about a little while ago, and for that matter, of course, the new Model Y Performance. The wheels on this Model S, seemingly plaid, were new as well, but to my eye, I couldn't really describe them because they had the clear look of the wheels that would go under an aero cover. You know what I'm talking about. If you've seen enough Tesla wheels, you know when it's like, oh, that's just the undercover, the under the aero cover wheel that hides underneath. So they're almost certainly new wheels, but I just can't confidently say what they will ultimately look like. When honestly, again, I will be a little bit disappointed, I won't lie, if the refresh of S and X is mostly under the hood stuff and almost nothing on the design side. Now, don't get me wrong, under the hood stuff is super cool. I mean, if it's going to get steer-by-wire, again, 500 kilowatt supercharging, etc., that's awesome. And I suppose, consider this as the argument for one or more of those major under the hood things being included on this car. Why would Tesla be doing high-speed track testing at the Nurburgring, of all places? Why would they be sending cars to Germany to run them on arguably the most famous track on the planet if the car was staying completely the same underneath? So I'm talking plaid drivetrain, talking steer-by-wire. Like, I'll say, could this be a quad motor car? The long-awaited maximum plaid, as Tesla CEO Elon Musk put it the night of the Roadster reveal. Could that be what this car is? Quad motor, maybe a little testing ground for the new Roadster? Could it basically be the elusive Plaid Plus with more range and more performance, more power? Not necessarily. I don't want to jump to that conclusion. It could still be the same tri-motor plaid drivetrain, same battery pack potentially, but why else would you go to the ring for that kind of testing? Well, to put the steer-by-wire system through its paces at high speed, because a Model S is going to handle very, very differently than a Cybertruck is. So steer-by-wire would obviously change the handling characteristics and dynamics of the car pretty substantially from the current setup. So if the look of the car isn't more noticeably changing, I mean, the current version of S and X, it's already 4 years old. It's already 4 years. It's been a minute. That will be a bit disappointing to me. I mean, when the new version, I should say when the current version came out, it wasn't a drastic redesign over the previous gen version of S and X, but it was clearly a new car. Like, it was obvious. Like, you had new headlights, new front fascia. It got noticeably wider. Obviously, the interior was completely redesigned. And eventually, the back end got tweaked nicely on the Model S as well. It got new taillights, along with new wheels, certainly, on S and X currently. So we'll see what Franz and Lars are ultimately cooking up for us on the design and engineering sides, respectively. But again, Tesla is not trying to hide these cars by running them around the Nürburgring in broad daylight. So action seems like it's happening sooner rather than later, and probably very, very soon. And not to be left out while we're talking about new design bits, if you've got a new Model 3 or new Model Y, you can now purchase a different dashboard trim piece for what I feel personally is a quite reasonable price. Another tip of the cap here to Drive Tesla Canada, which is where I saw this, but I will read you the product description straight from the online Tesla shop. It says, well, the product name, number one, is Model 3/Y Dashboard Decor Wing Charcoal Suede. It's $250, and that's installed at a service center. And Tesla says, upgrade your trim. The Model 3/Y Dashboard Decor Wing in Charcoal Suede allows you to change the aesthetic styling of your dashboard with a refined look and a deep matte gray that is soft to the touch and made of 100% vegan suede. End quote there. So if you bought a Launch Series Model Y, the Juniper in Launch Series, with the black interior, well, congratulations, you already have this. You don't need to buy it. And I'll say, I think I pointed this out on the show too, I always thought it was weird that all the Launch Series Model Ys didn't get this. But at least now, those of you that went with a white interior Launch Series Model Y, as well as anybody else out there with a new Model 3 from 2024 or 2025, or any other new Model Y since regular production began about, a month and a half or so ago now, any of you can grab this for your car as well. It is nice to the touch. I can confirm. I got to check it out at that Model Y talk in the showroom that I went to with a couple of the folks from the project. That was back in San Jose. That was February, maybe, something like that. Anyway, I have gotten to put my hands on that dashboard piece that went into the black interior Launch Series Model Ys, and it does. It feels very nice to the touch. So I'll say this: if I didn't already have the unique to the performance model carbon fiber dashboard trim piece, I would definitely spring for this. I just feel like $250 installed is really not a bad price. I mean, I know it's just one single piece that just pops out and pops in, so I'm sure Tesla is still making decent money on this. I just would expect something like this to cost a lot more, and I'm glad it doesn't. It's $250 if you're interested. I think it's very nice, so go over to the online Tesla shop and order it if you're interested. Also, I wanted to make one more thought here, leave you with one more thought on this subject. I hope this means that Tesla might do other dashboard trims for 3 and Y at some point. Because even the way they named this, of calling it Model 3Y Dashboard Decor Wing Dash Charcoal Suede, well, how about Model 3/Y Dashboard Decor Wing Dash Charcoal, ceramic. So it could be a vegan white, nice, same thing, but in white, for if you've got a white interior car. I think that would look really nice. That might actually tempt me, even though I have the carbon fiber piece, which I like a lot in my car. But yeah, I hope this means that Tesla might do other colors, other dashboard trims at some point in time. While we're talking about driving electric cars on tracks, I hope all of you that are kindly supporting me on Patreon at that $10 tier per month or higher, that's the most popular tier, I hope you enjoyed this week's lightning round mini episode, which was about the top 8 non-Tesla EVs that I'd love to drive, either on a track or anywhere else. It's the 2025 edition of this. I did this a couple years ago, but I updated it with a bunch of new cars, a bunch of new EVs that have hit the market. I've got some really fun stuff on this list and talk about why I would want to drive these cars and how cool they seem to be. So if you're supporting me on Patreon, check that out. If you're not and you'd like to do so, you can go to my Patreon page found at patreon.com/Tesla podcast, and you can join at whichever tier you think is best for you. The tiers start, at just $5. So $5 a month, and you'll get ad-free episodes, and you'll get that ad-free episode early, as Mina, the service dog, future service dog, is playing with a noise-making toy ball, of course. If you step up to that most popular tier at $10 a month, you'll get ad-free episodes, you'll get them early, and you'll get access to all 140-something of those weekly lightning round mini episodes in the past, and you'll get access to all the future ones too. So I'd love it if you'd consider joining me on Patreon. We've got our little sort of Patreon open chat channel as well, where your fellow members of the Ride the Lightning and Tesla community will post up supportive things, fun things. We've got a nice little community within a community going over there, so I'd love for you to join us. Patreon.com/Tesla podcast. Good news now for my Australian listeners. No, sadly, it's not yet the official launch of a right-hand drive Cybertruck in your market, but it is something that you've been waiting even longer for, FSD. Thank you to listener Andrew Zara for sending this to me. The Tesla AI team tweeted a video caption. Mina, you're probably making noise by scratching at that desk. Could you not do that right now, please? Oh my goodness. They always know, right? They always know, like, oh, you need it quiet? I'm not gonna be quiet right now. You're just gonna have to deal with it. You're such a good puppers. You got some? Okay, here. There was a ball under there. There we go. All right, Mina, there you go. It's over there. Have fun. All right. Andrew Zara, thank you for sending this to me. It was the Tesla AI team tweeted a video captioned FSD supervised testing in Melbourne, Australia. And yes, that's a hook turn. So they posted a video, obviously, of the car doing its thing around Melbourne. And it was a sped up cruise around what looked like downtown. I've never been there, so I can't say. And there was plenty of traffic. Wherever it was, there was plenty of traffic, plenty of pedestrians. Now, I confess, I wasn't familiar with a hook turn, but it happens pretty early in the video, so it's pretty obvious even to somebody like me that doesn't know what it is. But I looked it up afterwards, and if you're also curious what a hook turn is, well, I guess I'll just let Google explain it. It's a right turn maneuver where vehicles turn right from the left lane rather than the right lane at intersections where there is a tram line. This is done to prevent right-turning vehicles from blocking the tram line and allows trams and other vehicles to continue moving smoothly, end quote. So, in short, it is a pretty difficult / complicated maneuver, and in the video that Tesla posted, the car handled it wonderfully. Now, at the very least, the good news is Tesla has regulatory approval to test this, which bodes well. But thankfully, I learned a little later in the week that, in fact, the news is even better than that. In a comment to news.com.au, Tesla's country director for Australia and New Zealand, Tom Drew, said that the regulatory path is clear. Quote, "There's currently no blockers in Australia to releasing full self-driving supervised as we have in North America. It's something our business is working on releasing. I don't have a timeline currently for you, but it's certainly very exciting to be able to bring that to a market that doesn't have a regulatory blocker," end quote. So hopefully all of my Australian friends out there are going to get FSD supervised in your cars soon. Like maybe not weeks, but definitely months versus years. Hopefully sometime this year. And hopefully even soon. I mean, we're not even at the halfway point of 2025 yet. So hopefully relatively soon. And if and when it happens, you guys might, or I should say, probably will be the first right-hand drive market to get it. And while certainly we already knew that European FSD is on its way soon too, the Tesla AI account also tweeted a video of FSD supervised running around Paris and the Arc de Triomphe. So that was cool to see as well. the AI team really going global here in these last weeks, really making a push to get FSD supervised outside of the continent of North America, which is awesome. Before I continue with the rest of this week's Tesla news and then get to your phone calls in the Ride the Lightning hotline, I wanted to once again mention my friends at the New Arrow. As I said last week, I met them at the Tesla Takeover event a couple times. They're based in Sweden, and they just contacted me and wanted me to talk to you guys because they are investing in a U.S. subsidiary. So these guys are Tesla drivers that over 10 years ago, 2014, started exploring the aftermarket wheels available for Tesla. Well, one of those guys bought some nice-looking wheels from a well-known brand, but found that he had a 15% drop in range. So he dove in and asked himself, well, why? When he couldn't find any wheels designed specifically for electric cars, well, my friends at the New Arrow started designing them themselves. Now, arguably, the wheel might be, besides the car itself, but as far as things you can control, the wheel is the single part of the car that not only affects the look of the car most, but also the range. So this is why Tesla now does aero caps on most of their base wheels. It's for range. So the New Arrow went a step further with directional design and solid alloy aero wheels. They won a bunch of design awards. You can check out their wheels and see what they have to offer right now. The new US site that was just launched is called tnawheels.com. That stands for, of course, the New Arrow. And it sells exclusively in the US, and most of the wheels are now stocked right in my birth state of New Jersey. You can use the code TESLAPODCAST to get a 10% discount on tnawheels.com. And I should mention that if you happen to own a tire shop, they also have a B2B offer as well. So check them out. Also, my friends at XCare, the Accelerate Auto XCare extended warranty plan. They've got something fun going on right now that you might want to just read about. That's all. If you love the great outdoors, you're probably on the road a lot with your Tesla. They're great road trip vehicles. But there are road trips, and then there are epic road trips. I'm talking 2,500 miles epic. North Carolina to Montana, and then on to Colorado. That kind of epic. And it's especially epic when you're a lady doing it solo. Her name is Diana. She's a retired marketing professor, and she is right now on the road somewhere between North Carolina and South Dakota. When you're road tripping solo, the last thing you need is to worry about something failing on you in the middle of a long haul. That's why Diana got XCare, and that's why our friends over at Accelerate Auto are calling her road trip the, quote, Peace of Mind Tour. I like the sound of that. They're even doing a blog series about her trip with photos and videos, the whole 9 yards. You should check it out. If you've not done a road trip in your Tesla, well, check this out and see how fun and easy it can be. The link to the blog is in this week's podcast episode description, or you can just go to accelerateauto.com and their blog, you'll see it right there on the front page. That's XCELERATEAUTO.com. One more thing, Accelerate, they've even created a special discount for their most excellent extended warranty in Diana's honor as she road trips. So use the code Diana25, that's DIANA 25, Diana25 to get $100 off the one-time payment option if you configure and purchase an XCare plan of your own. Let's keep rolling with this week's Tesla news. I've got two more stories for you. They're both about the CEO of the company. So shout out to Tesla tipster Sawyer Merritt for going through a CNBC interview with Elon Musk this past week and posting what was, in my humble opinion, the most interesting part. And it was about the robotaxi launch in Austin, scheduled for next month, June. Sawyer wrote, Elon Musk says Tesla will have 10 robotaxis on the road during the first week when it launches next month. Then it will grow from there. Quote from Elon, we'll probably be at 1,000 robotaxis within a few months, end quote. Also, Sawyer says, if you're curious, If there will be a human in the driver's seat ready to take over just in case, Elon says no. There will be no safety driver in the driver's seat when Tesla's robotaxi service launches in Austin next month. No one sitting there. And then he offered a bit more detail on the geographic restrictions of the service at first. Elon saying, quote, "We are actually going to deploy not to the entire Austin region, but only the parts that are the safest. So we will geofence it. It's not going to take intersections unless we are highly confident it will do well," end quote. Well, I'll say that I'm pleasantly surprised that it's going to be completely driverless. I figured that at first there would be a Tesla employee in the driver's seat as a backup safety system, especially if you're only starting with 10 cars. So that's pretty cool that it is going to be an empty driver's seat to start with, which that's how it was at the robotaxi event, the We Robot event back in, what was that, October. Gosh, that is that long ago? That's 7 months ago already? Man, time flies. Anyway, I think it's just super cool that the driver's seat will be unoccupied. And if you're curious, just like with Waymo, certainly Tesla will have remote operators that can tap in and take over, but they're only going to do that if the car finds itself in a situation that it can't get itself out of. I'll add, though, I am a bit bummed that it's not even going to go through intersections at first. I mean, I fully respect and understand Tesla wanting to err on the side of caution, but where can it even go if it's not going to go through intersections? I presume that isn't going to last very long, but still. Although then again, I suppose anyone in the car during that initial period, intersections or not, they're going to be super excited and probably won't even notice that there are no major intersections being taken by the car. So if you're curious how the Austin rollout is going to begin, now we have some added clarity on that. And finally this week, speaking of Elon Musk, he also said this week that he will still be the CEO of Tesla in 5 years' time, dispelling any potential skepticism regarding his commitment or plans with the company. I saw this on Teslarati, who wrote, "In the past, there was some speculation that Musk would leave Tesla if he was not adequately compensated for his work. He had a massive pay package taken from him by a Delaware judge in a move that caused Tesla to reincorporate its company in Texas. However, Musk confirmed this week with a simple yes that he would still be Tesla's frontman in 5 years during an interview with Bloomberg at the Qatar Economic Forum. The question was simply, do you see yourself and are you committed to still being the chief executive of Tesla in 5 years' time? And Elon simply said, yes. So, with his time as a special government employee, because that is the actual designation, having seemingly wound down now, I can't say I'm surprised by this. Elon is clearly I talked about this on the earnings call episode. He is really excited about two things, the Optimus project and the push to autonomy. Those two things are going to keep him engaged at Tesla for quite a while, similar to how he was super excited about the Cybertruck for a while there as well. All right, that will do it for another busy week of Tesla news. Stick with me. As always, your Ride the Lightning hotline phone calls are coming up right after this.
This is Bill Daniels, the voice of Light Industries 2000, or KIT. You're listening to Ride the Lightning, the Tesla unofficial podcast. Happy electric motoring.
It's time to hear from you guys in the Ride the Lightning hotline. You could call in, possibly be featured on the podcast if you've got a Tesla or EV-related question, comment, or discussion topic. There are two easy ways to call in. One of them is to simply use your smartphone's built-in voice recording software. Record your question. I kindly ask that you keep it to 90 seconds or less so that I can get to as many callers each week as possible. Email that file to me at teslapodcast@gmail.com. Or you can take that same 90-second or less question and simply call in and leave a message on the Ride the Lightning hotline. It's a toll-free number. You can call it anytime you like. The number is 1-888-989-8752. That number again, 1-888-989-TSLA. And if you know someone special out there with an upcoming birthday, anniversary, graduation, or some other special occasion, you can give them a unique gift of recorded voices from friends and family telling them why they're special. The recordings can be podcasted or put onto a keepsake. Visit lifeonrecord.com to learn more. We kick off this week with Patrick from Sacramento responding to caller Matt about his request for a vacation mode in the car. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hey, Ryan. Patrick here from Sacramento. Just wanted to respond to Matt's question looking for a vacation mode that turns off all the power draining features while you're parked. I've actually had to figure this out myself because I often go to places that are off the grid, and I definitely don't want my car draining itself while I'm parked for a few days. And the technique I figured out is just go to safety and then scroll all the way to the bottom and hit the power off button, and that just turns off everything. The only glitch is that you have to do it with the driver's door open, because otherwise, as soon as you open the door, everything comes back to life. So door open, hit safety, scroll to the bottom, hit power off, and that shuts everything down. You just close your door, and it doesn't turn everything back on until you open it. Hope it helps.
That does indeed help, Patrick. Thank you. That is a super constructive call, and I think that'll definitely get the job done for Matt and for anybody else who might want or need this at some time. Thank you so much for calling in with it. I just really appreciate when listeners reach out to me to help their fellow owners / listeners / enthusiasts. I know it might sound cheesy or silly, but when I first started having phone calls in the podcast, right near the beginning, I never really considered this as an outcome for the phone calls. But and it's not this all the time, right? Although we've got a couple more of these here. But I just think it's great that all of you are willing to help each other out, and you can kind of do that through the podcast here, which is super fun. So, Patrick, thank you so much. Matt, that goes out to you. Next up is Dave from Florida calling in about NACS in Japan, that story that I talked about last week.
Hi, Ryan. This is Dave from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Just a quick comment on episode 511 and the NACS being adopted in Japan. Something about that really made sense to me because the rest of the electrical system in Japan also matches the North American standard. So a regular 110 volt outlet that we would use, they use a very similar outlet. So you can plug your US devices in directly, and it's 110 volts, and it's exactly the same plug. So it seemed like it's not all that unusual to have a North American standard in Japan. That's all I got. Talk to you later. Thanks for all you do.
Dave, thank you for enlightening me with that key bit of context, because you're right. That absolutely makes NACS a whole lot more logical in Japan than it already was purely on its own merits as a great charging standard. I appreciate the call, Dave. Thank you so much. Let's keep it moving here. John from West Virginia is up next.
Hey, Ryan. This is John from West Virginia. I called in asking for some assistance on keeping the external speaker on after closing the door. And I did find the answer, and that answer is to enable camp mode before you exit the car, and you've already set up your music to play. In my case, I'm doing it at a drive-in and tuned into the drive-in's radio station. So thank you for doing what you do, and I really appreciate it, as I know other Tesla owners do also. Have a great day.
Thank you, John. I am happy to play this in case it's helpful to others. And again, as I mentioned at the top here, we're just on fire this week with listeners helping each other out. I just love it. I just honestly appreciate the community spirit here. It's one of the things that, even just outside of Ride the Lightning, I've always enjoyed about the Tesla space. It's very welcoming. It's very supportive. So kudos to everybody, John, everybody calling in with so much good stuff this week. But I've still got 2 more calls lined up for you here. This next one is from Dave in Georgetown, Texas.
Hey, Ryan, it's Dave, Georgetown, Texas, just north of Giga, Texas. Long-time listener, second-time caller. So I had a 2018 Model 3, like you, not as high performance. But 6 months ago, as I was going north on I-35, it stopped for traffic. The lady behind me didn't, and it was totaled, period. My goal was to be able to replace it without using any more than the insurance company payment. And fortunately, with the $4,000 tax credit for used electric vehicles, I was able to get a 2019 with long range instead of standard, and had tinted windows and treatment on the paint and a lot of things like that for just the insurance money. The interesting thing was, as I was driving home with it, I noticed that the autopilot was working different than mine did. So when I got home, I started looking into it, and it actually had full self-driving on it. And I'm thinking the dealer didn't know, because there was nothing in the advertising, nothing in the paperwork, and the salesman never mentioned it. So I really got a fortunate situation, period. But the long part is that after about 6 months of using self-driving and getting comfortable with it, my wife would still never let me use it when she was in the car because she wasn't comfortable. But last week we took a 20-hour trip to Springfield, Missouri and back. Used full self-driving the whole time. She got very comfortable with it, and I only intervened about 10 times in the whole trip, and most of those were because an 18-wheeler was moving over the line or getting too close. So really amazing results. The thing you don't think about is that if you look away or get distracted, you get a warning on the screen to tell you to get back in action. That works very well, and I like having that. But if you turn self-driving off, you don't get those warnings, and you still tend to be distracted or look at your phone or whatever. So that's another added benefit to having self-driving on, because you miss out on those awareness warnings if you don't. Thanks, Ryan. Thank you for all you do.
Dave, I'm very sorry to hear that your car got totaled, but the most important thing, it sounds like you're okay. That is far and away the most important thing. But hey, bonus that you were able to take advantage of the used EV credit and get something that worked for you as a replacement without having to dip into your own pocket on it. And then, hey, what a bonus that it came with quote-unquote free, more like hidden FSD. How cool that it's been able to win over your wife over the course of its recent evolution too. So sounds like things are trending up in your household there, Dave, and I love to hear it. Happy electric motoring, good sir. Finally this week, one more call. It is from Eric in Vermont. I confess, I've been sitting on this one for a little while. I've always got a big backlog of calls, which is a great problem to have. Eric had sent this in right around 500, and I know we're up to 512 here. But here's Eric from Vermont talking about Tesla insurance.
Hey, Ryan. Eric from Vermont here. Congratulations again on 500 plus episodes. You are a true podcaster. I had some questions about insurance. It seems to me there's a lot of states that don't have Tesla insurance. So I'm wondering if Tesla might try and engage with some third-party insurance companies, and what benchmark would they need to actually want to insure Tesla vehicles? I guess if Tesla is willing to repair them, then maybe they would engage in some form of rates or something that would be reasonable. Otherwise I feel like a lot of us are going to be left out on that light switch moment when the regulation's good and, they just don't have insurance in those states. I kind of feel like maybe some low-hanging fruit would be is at least maybe a third-party insurance company could insure Smart Summon. If Tesla can prove that's at least safe, I would feel like it's become less of a parlor trick and more of something that's actually useful for owners. Just wanted to get your take on things. Thanks again.
Eric, thank you for your call and for your kind words. I confess that I don't have anything of substance to contribute here, and that's because insurance varies state by state. What's true for me in California might not be true for you in Vermont. Now, if I have any listeners out there who are in the insurance industry and might be able to give a more informed response to Eric's question, I would welcome you, I would invite you to call in, help him out, educate me, and maybe even help out the rest of the audience as well. So cheers, Eric. Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you to everybody that kindly took the time to call in. Keep those phone calls coming. I gave you the 2 easy call-in methods at the top of the segment, so refer back to that if something comes to mind and you'd like to call in with it. As for what's going on with me and my car, the soul of adventure, well, there is a Memorial Day Tesla event happening tomorrow, not too far from me. It's actually at the place that I took delivery of my current car, the new Model 3 Performance. The good news is it shouldn't be pouring rain and gusting wind tomorrow, which the last time I was there for taking delivery of my car, it was just a horrific downpour with absolute umbrella-busting wind gusts. You may have seen the video on my Instagram back from December when I took delivery of the car. So I'm looking forward to better weather at that tomorrow. My delivery advisor is going to be there. I'd seen in the outreach for that, so looking forward to saying hi to him. He's a listener of the podcast. Let him know how I'm doing with the car, and say hi to my fellow Tesla owners and enthusiasts while I'm there. I've got an entertainment recommendation for you this week. There is no shortage of awesome entertainment out there between games and movies and TV shows, and I'll go with a TV show this week. It is The Last of Us Season 2 on what is now, again, HBO Max. The season finale is this weekend, meaning tonight as this episode publishes, so I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, I've played both of The Last of Us games, so I generally know what's going to happen, but I've really enjoyed this show. It's just been fantastic, and I'm curious what they're going to leave season 2 on to set up season 3, because I kind of, again, from playing the game, I know where the story is generally going, but I wonder how they'll break it up, like how they'll end season 2 and set up season 3. But if you haven't seen it yet, boy, I mean, it's not family appropriate. It is definitely a grown-ups show. It's not one for the kids, but it is just a tremendously well-written, well-acted zombie show. If you think, oh God, I've seen a million zombie shows, this is one of the best ones. So I definitely recommend The Last of Us on HBO Max if you haven't already seen it. Time for your Tesla Pro Tip of the Week. It comes from regular caller Damon in Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey Ryan, Damon out of Northbrook, Illinois here. Glad to hear that my pro tip from, I think, close to a year ago helped save you from the bottom of the pro tip barrel. But anyhow, I have one for you today. I've recently jammed my thumb in a game of basketball, and the ergonomics of the charging connector is just so that I can't really get it with my right hand. I could do it with my left hand, but I found that I can also just make it so I don't even have to do that. If I go into my app before I go to my car and say unlock charge port, I can slide the charging cable out without having to press the button. Same goes for if you're in the car and you hit the charge port button on your car model icon. I thought this might be good for people who might not be able-bodied or have arthritis, or, you just don't want to touch the cable at the supercharger or touch the handle. You want to grab further down on the cable. You don't have to actually press the button. You can just unlock the charge port and pull out the cable, and away you go. So anyhow, thanks again, and I'll look forward to your next podcast. Take care. Bye.
This is a great pro tip, Damon, because in my opinion, accessibility is always a good thing. So thank you so much for sending this in. Love this pro tip. Hopefully this helps somebody out there. And if anybody else out in the audience has a good Tesla or just EV pro tip that you'd like to share with me and thus your fellow Tesla owners, Tesla enthusiasts, EV enthusiasts, I encourage you to send it my way. And the way to do that is to call in to the Ride the Lightning hotline using one of the 2 call-in methods that I gave you earlier, and just call it in like a regular call, and I will file it over into my pro tip folder for a future episode. Before I go, let me mention some friends of the podcast that can be useful to you at some point. Maybe that's today, maybe that's sometime soon. You never know. AbstractOcean.com is the first one of those. They have a million great aftermarket Tesla products and accessories, things like lighting kits, tempered glass screen protectors, custom fit for all of the Tesla center screens, just all kinds of stuff. They are offering a 15% discount off of your first order if you use the coupon code RTLPodcast at checkout. So, therefore, I recommend you browse around, you put everything you like into your online shopping cart, and then use that coupon code. Don't use it on one thing, ideally. You're going to want to just maximize the use of it by using it on one big bucket purchase. I guess bucket basket would be. Online shopping basket would be the way to go. Sorry, I'm at the point. I'm so tired. I am exhausted here this week. Even though the puppy, the last 3 nights... Oh, hello. The last 3 nights in a row, she's actually slept all the way through the night for pretty much the first time. And so I don't know how tonight's going to go, but man, I'm ready to pass out after I finish recording this. Anyhow, abstractocean.com, coupon code RTLPodcast at checkout to get 15% off of your first order. That's RTLPodcast, all one word, no spaces. SnapPlate and the newer, stronger SnapPlate Plus, available for SX3Y and Cybertruck, including new Model Y. They've got a new custom design version specifically for the Juniper, the new Y, so that it does not block the front bumper camera. So check it out at everyamp.com/RTL. And the nice part is they offer a discount code for my listeners, which I really appreciate. That coupon code is RTL. So whether you want the regular snap plate, which is safety optimized with breakaway features to sacrifice itself in a worst case scenario like a parking accident or car wash, or the strength optimized snap plate plus with hardened features for maximum strength, both have the minimalist aesthetic that blends in really nicely with the Tesla front end. Both are made from recycled, made in the USA plastics with stainless steel reinforcements. This is the front license plate bracket that I recommend if you either want or legally are required to have a front license plate on your car. If you're in or going to be in the greater San Francisco Bay Area with your Tesla or another car that you love, I encourage you to reach out to my detailer, Immaculate Reflections, and maybe you want to do ceramic coating so that you don't have to wax your car for the next 3 to 5 plus years. And the 2018 that we have, my wife's 2018 Model 3 Performance, that car's going on almost 7 years with ceramic coating, and it's doing great. So ceramic coating is awesome. I do recommend that for really any painted car. I certainly am also a big fan of paint protection film. You all know that. Maybe you want to do just the front end of the car, which is kind of the highest impact, highest risk area. Or maybe you're crazy like me and want to do the entire car. Maybe you want to do paint correction, get the actual finish cleaned up, have it looking as good as it possibly can, or some combination of all those. Whatever you want to do, Immaculate Reflections will take great care of your car, I promise you that. And if you mention that you're a Ride the Lightning listener, you will get the Ride the Lightning listener discount, which is super nice of Immaculate Reflections to do. So go to the website, irdetailing.com. The Patreon, I mentioned it a little earlier, but I'll mention it one more time here. Patreon.com/Tesla Podcast. The link is also in the episode description. That is the place to go if you would like to support the podcast. And my hope is that I earn your support after whatever amount of time makes sense in your mind. Because I know not everybody's been listening for years and years. Some of you might have just been with me for the last year, or maybe since episode 499 or 500 or 501 with one of the big interviews. So my hope is to earn your trust, earn your support I hope I can earn your trust. I mean, I'm out here just being honest and trying to do a good job reporting and analyzing this stuff. But anyway, the point is, this is a free podcast. It survives on your listener support, and the way to give that support is through Patreon. There are different perks and bonuses at each of the support tiers, and the higher you go, all of those perks and bonuses stack. So again, the $5, the base level support tier, $5 a month gets you early access to each week's episode and an ad-free episode that you get early. If you step up to that most popular tier, the $10 per month tier, you get those two things, but you also get the weekly lightning round mini episodes, and then it goes on and up from there. So I'd love your support. Check it out at patreon.com/Tesla podcast. If you are interested in supporting the podcast but would rather not do so monthly, there is an annual option. Just pay once for a year of support. And if you are kind enough to do that, I offer you a 10% discount on that annual pledge. So it's all at patreon.com/Tesla podcast. I'm on X as well as Instagram with the username DMC_Ryan. You can also email me anytime about Tesla or EV related stuff, and that email address is teslapodcast@gmail.com. What is going on behind me, puppies? My goodness. What are we... All right. There's a bone over there? Is that what that is? All right, come on. I need... Come on, puppies. There we go. Okay. All right, they've moved it off of a hard surface onto carpet. Now I can finish this thing. Yes, teslapodcast@gmail.com. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the top-tier Patreon supporters. I'll start with the top tier, Roadster in Space. They are Pete White, Lyle Austin, Steve Radspinner, Fernando Cordero, Lawton from Chicago, Sean Neidig, Neil Weaver, Jackson Wallace, Rolf and Jennifer Evers, Howard Anthony Smith, Victoria Iacovetto, Tesla Hitchhiker 42, Kara Weston, Robert from near Philly, American Home Contractors, Doug Carey, Michael Gallo, and Tony Figueroa. Next, the Maximum Plaid backers: Jonathan Wales, Cameron Clark, Daniel Grummer, Seth Capello, Nick and Tony, the Galpin family, Ryan from New York City, Darren Nickel, Kaz Barnes, Patrick Wisniewski, Gil Cabrera, Todd Badger, Joe Edgel, Kevin Yank, the Tesla Owners Club of San Joaquin Valley, Will Stedman, Justin Perez, Jeremy Harris, Chris Beach, Tom Mills, Corey O'Donnell, Aaron, John Cody, Joel Sapp, Paul Casarino, Chris Osborne, KB, Adam Lavoie, Jason Chalukas, Travis Krenzel, Bruce Otterstein, Tom Behan, Josh Pennington, John from Cream Ridge, New Jersey, Dustin Hart, Derek Finley, Charles Clement, Damon Klein, Jeff Brown, Jerry Slinger, Clayton Goodfellow, Kenneth Corbett, Brian Bertoglio, Kim Bay, Troy Sievers, and Nick Jacoby. And finally, a big thank you and hello goes out to the grandfathered-in Plaid level supporters, still kindly backing the podcast at that old Plaid tier, so they still get all the perks and bonuses that they should get, including their name shouted out at the end of each week's show. So hello and thank you to George Cassiopo, Logan Willis, Peter Chalet, Eric Randolph, Dory and Steve Guberman, the Tesla Owners Club of Taiwan, Ron Lee, Charlie Gillespie, Jeff Angwin, Chase Cabanillas, the Lydia family, Aaron Altschul, Jared Brown, Jerome Strack, Jamie Dalton, Mike and Barbara from Louisville, Matt Nixon, the Tesla Owners Club of Wisconsin, Ish, not Elon Musk in quotes, Peter, and the Bear Boys of Colorado. As the Labradors behind me are rumbling, which is actually, I don't mind, even though it's 9:43 p.m. I took a little dinner break about 90% of the way through the podcast. But this way, the puppy, if she doesn't go to bed till I go to bed, better chance that she'll sleep through the night. So I am totally fine with the two of them rumbling around for a little while here late into the evening. Anyway, That is the end of episode 512. As I said, I am about ready to pass out. I just got to go do the dishes and then get these puppies ready for bed. But I hope you're having a great week wherever you are listening from. I hope all is well. I wish you happy electric motoring, my friends, and I'll see you back here next week.
Elon Musk, people don't like Elon Musk. The guy founded PayPal and Tesla, and people are like, yeah, but he's a troll and a bad dad. I'm like, so was mine. He did nothing to fight climate change. Also, have you been in a Tesla? Have you been in a Tesla? My buddy let me drive his Tesla. I laughed out loud at how fast it went. Been clinically depressed my entire life, on dozens of medications, in a Tesla for 13 seconds, cured forever.
I mean, I think a Tesla is the most fun thing you could possibly buy ever. That's what it's meant to be. Our goal is to make it's not exactly a car. It's actually a thing to maximize enjoyment. It's maximum fun.